Africa is becoming a startup hub with thousands of entrepreneurs and ventures who are taking on every problem and opportunity. Africa's startup landscape is on the upward fundraising trend. Despite the current landscape, venture capitals are still very bullish about Africa. Traditional and large corporate venture arms and sovereign wealth funds are also beginning to circle in on African startups as they mature. We have in our studio one of the major players in Africa's venture investing space with an outstanding record. Platform Capital, a growth market-focused, sector-agnostic, principal investment and advisory firm, head office in Nigeria and with offices across 7 other locations globally. Platform Capital prouds itself in combining a deep knowledge of the markets it operates in, an entrepreneurial business building approach, and strong local and global perspective. We have with us Dr. Ponmile Osibo. He's the partner at Platform Capital and investment and advisory firm. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right. So that was Dr. Ponmile Osibo. And with him also is Paul Okunaya, is the Chief Investment Officer, Platform Capital. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
All right. So Platform Capital is a unique investment advisory firm. But what sets Platform Capital apart from other advisory firms?
Okay. Thank you. So Platform Capital is a growth markets focused investment and advisory firm. We're also sector agnostic. And what does that really mean? It means that 1, we don't just invest in Nigeria and across Africa, we invest globally. 2, we invest across all sectors. And 3, we also look to invest across all stages of the business life cycle. So what does that mean to you as an entrepreneur, a business owner, or a founder? It means that wherever you are in the world, we can invest, we can partner with you. It also means that whatever stage of the business you are at, whether you are at ideation stage or you're in your growth or expansion phase, we are also willing to work with you and partner with you as well. So that's on the investment side. On the advisory side, we work with different clients from all walks of life and at different stages to help you with different things like capital restructuring, fundraising, business reorganization. So we've worked with many clients from across the world to date, from Nigeria to Kenya to Bangladesh to the USA. And on the investment side to date, we've made over 71 direct and indirect investments across the world, from Nigeria to Kenya, South Africa, Ghana, USA, Mexico, and China, and that continues to grow.
So on Africa Business Radio, we are heavy on SMEs and startups, small businesses. They are the backbone of economies around the world. What's your relationship, your level of engagement with the SMEs?
So I agree with everything you've said. We see SMEs as the lifeblood of the economy. They're significant job creators. We also see them as what will significantly position Africa for growth and especially coming out of COVID. We see that a number of SMEs in certain sectors will be positioned for growth, and we want to partner with them. So, for example, we have, starting on the 1st of August, we have an incubation program by our tech vehicle called Unicorn. It's a Unicorn Incubation Program that will start at the University of Lagos Business School, where we will get 30 of the brightest entrepreneurs from across Africa. We have people who have applied from over 5 countries in Africa who will start virtually, then have a 3-week intensive and well-developed program that will help them position their businesses for scale and growth, especially coming out of COVID. So we work closely with them. 2, in October, we have a campus that is going to go live. And it's going to be the first of our campuses in Lagos, is in Yaba, across 6 floors that will work with entrepreneurs from ideation, incubation, acceleration, and also provide funding and also general business support for these companies to help them grow. Because we see the problem with SMEs in Africa is not that we don't have great entrepreneurs. We have some of the smartest and brightest minds globally. The problem is that they're not being given enough support, whether that's patient capital, whether that's business advisory, whether that is also mentorship and being able to show traction. And we provide that, and we will continue to provide that. We feel that that's key to be able to develop and grow businesses and nurture them, businesses that can compete with the best of the best from the US or Europe or Asia. So that's how we see SMEs. And that's why, especially in the tech space, but overall, we work with businesses, with SMEs. If you come to us and we see the potential, we see the drive, we see the hunger, and we can see that this business will work, we will help you. We'll help you develop a business plan. We'll give you market access. We'll give you exposure to our global network. We have a very strong network globally of partners who can bring best-in-class advice to bear on your business. We will help you with regulatory. We will help you with recruitment of your team, because over time, the senior management team at Platform have over 160 years of experience working across private equity, corporate banking, venture capital, oil and gas, you name it. There's almost no industry somebody has not worked on at a senior level and has contacts there as well. So we help. We don't just see ourselves as investors. We see ourselves, more importantly, as co-pilots. We'll be with you to take you along the journey. So when you're tired, we're there to lift you up, to push you on, and just to make sure we get to the final destination together.
I mean, talking about piloting, the amount of energy required for a plane to take off is nothing compared, to what is needed when it glides. Is that takeoff, that initial, takeoff, that a lot of businesses, from our experience, we find out that's what they really need. And, that's the determinant point where if this thing is going to work. Gliding is, you can put it on, when it, get into the air, you can just put it on autopilot. But that takeoff grant still is a problem for a lot of small businesses in Africa. Getting access to funds in Africa. What do you see as, why is that so much of a challenge, in your opinion, getting that initial takeoff grant for businesses in Africa? And what do you think, could be the solution, for getting, on how to, get funds, make funds available for small businesses so that, they can, like we all know and we have agreed, contribute more to the economy of sovereign states and of course the entire continent.
Okay, so it's a very good point, and for us there are a few things that we see. One, in that takeoff point, we spend a lot of time getting to know the business, understand it, building business plans, 100-day plans, 1-year plans. We look at the market intensively because our team is a team of over 40 professionals, and we put that behind any business that we support to make sure that you can be the most successful business that you are. But in terms of funding, we know funding is an issue, and which is why the way we look at, from our perspective, funding is patient. Our funding is patient. We take a long-term patient capital approach. We're not a fund, so we have no pressure to exit, because we believe strongly that we need to look at businesses to create value and create real wealth in businesses. You need to look at a 15-year horizon with businesses, which a lot of people don't have. The systems aren't set up. If you want to take a loan from a bank, they want their money back within 2 to 3 years with very high interest rates. So, and other people have different capital restrictions on how long they can invest or that they can give you that money for. For us, we see that you need to take a patient approach, a value additive approach to this. And because in the first 2 to 3 years of a business life, you're just really getting to iron out all the kinks in the business. Then from year 3 to 7, you are now getting into your growth phase. And then from 7 to 10 to 11, you are sort of, figuring out what the next direction this business is going to go into. There are many examples that we can talk about of businesses who show that's the curve. We've done a lot of research into that. But, to specifically tackle this issue, I think it's the frameworks, the systems need to be looked at. I know that governments all in Nigeria and other African countries are trying to do that. But for us specifically, what we've done, there's a institute that we're supporting, a company called One Community, that is tailored specifically for SMEs. It's active. It will launch. It's going to officially launch within the next 4 weeks, where they're given long-term patient capital, either as a loan or as equity, to create a community of SMEs. They'll provide business support. They will also provide a lot of hand-holding, legal advice, a lot of accounting, because with businesses, we find that if they're structured right, they will have that impact that we need of job creation. We estimate that from as little as a $10,000 loan, a company, a small SME, can actually employ very quickly 2 to 4 people. The minimum we want is 4 people. So that's a massive job creation. Through One Community, our goal is over the next 10 years, we will loan or seed capital to over 1 million businesses, looking then to create 4 million jobs, have a ripple effect across that. So that's the way we see it. I think, especially COVID has changed everything. So we need to take a different approach to what used to be business as normal. And that's what we're doing through platform and also through One Community, one of the initiative of one of our companies.
Let me just try add one or two things. One of the things we say, especially for SMEs, is you should not lose dignity trying to raise funds. And if you have an idea and there are problems to be solved, and we have a lot of problems, and you have the solution, that's an opportunity. And if you're committed to that idea, you only need to be committed. We'll help you through with execution. That's it. So you don't have to lose your value because you're trying to raise funds. And then we want to see, is there a market for it? The problem is there. You have the solution. There is a market for it. So it's scalable. And then it's scalable across geographies.
Give us an example of situations where companies lose their value when they're seeking, financial.
Sometimes SMEs
funding.
get frustrated because they've not spoken to the right people like us. We see through. Sometimes you may be speaking to us about your idea, and we're seeing beyond your idea. We're seeing farther than what you see, and then we share with you, and then we speak to you. So SMEs sometimes get frustrated just trying to sell their ideas and trying to sell what solution they're trying to provide, and they get frustrated, and you don't have to. And through these initiatives, some of these initiatives that we put in place, yes. And again, we invest in funds. So we're direct investors ourselves, and we invest in funds as well, because we don't see all deals, we don't see all transactions across geographies, across countries and continents. So we've invested in a number of funds in Nigeria, covering Africa. We invested in a fund in Latin America, also in America. So we can see more deals, and deals that we don't see, we can see them through other funds. And we continue to do that. We're looking at 1 or 2 funds in Europe, in Asia, Israel particularly. So SMEs need to find the right partner. And that right partner is who we are, and that's what we try to do directly and through various initiatives.
So, Doctor, you were talking earlier, about COVID-19 and how it has really changed the game. There's a lot of talk now, and there's this, phrase that's being used commonly now, the new normal. And, there's talk now that this could be our new normal for maybe the next 18 months. This pandemic, this virus, will be with us until we have a vaccine, or everybody decides to sit at home and let the thing pass, and of which that is not going to happen. Human beings were very restless, and
we're social animals.
Yeah, social animals. Every sector, and everyone I've spoken to in this period, I've had to ask them about their sectors and how the pandemic has changed, the way business is done within that sector. How has it affected yours?
So, for us at Platform, and this might sound atypical, the pandemic has actually been productive. It has actually been fruitful, because what we've seen, not just, by the way, as I mentioned, we're global, not just in Nigeria, Africa, but also globally. We've seen entrepreneurs that we've backed rise. So where you've seen people who their business has been impacted by COVID, but you've seen them pivot aggressively and come up with solutions to make sure their business not just stays resilient and stays alive, but actually comes out stronger. So, for example, we have seen there's a company that we are looking at in Mexico. What they did, obviously, their total industry was impacted by COVID because their industry is premised on people coming together. But what they did is that they were able to take all their 2021 tech development plans and implemented them already in 2020. That's one example. We've also seen that there's another company that we are invested in already that has created a solution that they weren't really planning to. When we did our 5-year strategy, this was not something they were planning to build. But due to COVID and also the industry's premised on people coming together, they said, okay, you know what, let's take those interactions as best as we can, let's take them online. And they've created something that is phenomenal that we're very excited about. So because we, in the investment space, we have a philosophy that entrepreneurs are like lions. A lion has one job: it hunts, it kills. So if you take an entrepreneur that is truly a lion and you take them from Nigeria to Kenya, or you take them from Kenya to Brazil, a true entrepreneur will always find what to do and how to make things work. He will roar. So for us, it's key. We don't invest in businesses, we invest in people. We back people, we back teams. That's critical because an entrepreneur that is really a good entrepreneur will always find a way to make things work. They will, when things like COVID happen, they will be resilient. They will find solutions. They will, that hunger, that passion, that instinct that makes them a true entrepreneur will come to the front. But we've also seen very attractive opportunities, directly from our case where, because people are looking for capital, they still had fundraising plans. So we've seen some very attractive opportunities that, in a normal world, we might have missed or glossed over because there would have been so much noise. But the businesses that are doing well have sort of risen to the top, and they're now being evident, and what our value add is now very attractive to them. So that's what we've seen. But I think also, just speaking generally about the investment space, and Paul, you can add to this as well. What people would typically have invested in, treasury bills, different products are not being able to produce that yield that everybody wants anymore. So the alternative investment space is now very attractive. Is one way that you can guarantee to meet your targets, whatever that might be, whether you're looking to increase your wealth by 2 times, 3 times, 4 times. Current products and securities are not going to give you that, and we don't know when the market is going to come about. So we've seen a lot of high net worth individuals and ultra high net worth individuals are more interested in the space. We've had a lot of people come to us and say, look, can you give me business advice? My business is struggling, or I have cash, I want to preserve my capital, I don't want the devaluation also happened, where we're looking at now, the naira to the dollar has lost 30% plus, depending on what exchange rate it decides to be today in the past 4 months. So that's difficult if you're trying to preserve capital for your children or grandchildren. So we've had a lot of inquiries, and we're providing support there. On our advisory side, we see ourselves as we provide bespoke solutions for our clients. No client is ever the same, and we have experience to do that. So we're even providing what you would call maybe wealth management advice to some individuals. It's not where we started, but a solution is a solution, and we believe in relationships. If you are a client and you have an issue in your personal life about your wealth management, we'll offer you the advice as well.
All right. So thank you so very much. We've been talking to Dr. Ponmile Osibo, is the partner at Platform Capital, as well as Paul Okonaya, the Chief Investment Officer, Platform Capital. They are a global firm operating in growth markets across the world, 14 countries in Africa, 7 in other parts of the world. And you've heard, where they have their eyes, some regions they're looking at, Mexico, Israel, so many other places. You can carry on the conversation with them after here. And, of course, this conversation will be online on our podcast when we're done, so you can listen to it over and over again. You spoke of a webinar in August and another in October.
So I was talking about our incubation program. Yes, which is a 16-week program which starts then. Our campus will open up in October as well. So
is the incubation, is it closed for attendance? Are you still taking in attendees?
So it is closed. However, it is closed, but it doesn't matter. Even if you have a business idea and a business you're running, please write to us. It doesn't matter that the incubation program is no longer open. We're still open, that is run by Unicorn. That's our tech vehicle, is running that program. However, we as platform, please reach out to us. We're very open to have meetings, Zoom calls, because we think there's still very bright entrepreneurs solving great problems out there, and we would definitely want to engage.
That's what we do.
Yeah, wherever you are in the world, reach out to us. We want to work and we want to partner with bright and driven entrepreneurs, and also advise businesses of any size. Please reach out to us.
All right. Well, you've heard from the advisors and the experts themselves. They are from Platform Capital, and you can take advantage of all the services that they offer. You're still listening to Breakfast Connector on Africa Business Radio.